got Star Jesse Taylor in the house with us today. So, Star, thank you for joining us. Where are you coming from today? California?
Yes, Los Angeles, California.
Nice.
Beautiful
Nice.
outside.
Well, give us a little background first, Star. Like, how did
Mm,
you get to the States? Because you did not start in California, correct?
that's right. I was born in Germany.
Okay. Okay.
I grew up there. All my family, they German. Went to school. I got bullied for 7 years, so that's where some challenges started. But already, like in my childhood, there was problems with. I don't want to say who it is because I want to respect my family, but there was some problems with addiction and other very challenging problems. As a kid, it's not like you get used because that's the only family you have. So it kind of becomes normal. Growing up, I always wanted to be the best. So I looked for self-help and I looked for books and I looked for things how to become successful. Um, Basically, I feel like part of it was the love that I didn't feel like I got. I wanted to get through being the best. And so I wanted to be the best athlete. I wanted to be the best rapper. I wanted to be the best actor. And there was lots of pain connected with the country, Germany. I don't like that country. I don't like how people treated me. I was treated really badly for 7 years, being bullied.
What were you bullied for?
Uh, I I don't know truly
Like, were we
fully completely
weight or
till
something like
nowadays. No, no, no. It was basically it's like a snowball effect. Like one of the kids, and then two, and they get like the power trip that they have one person that they can like let their anger out. It was also it's a very criminal city that I come from, Frankfurt.
that? Okay.
When I grew up, as well, it was even worse. And there was my school was like one of the worst schools in the city of behavior of people. So that is where a lot of the challenges came from. And I didn't like it. So I was like, I want to get away from here. I want to get away. And I always saw palm trees in Hollywood and movies and other things around. And so I had the dream of acting. So I went to school here for a little bit. And yeah, and then I started making videos at some point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously talk about the content in which you talk about like the spirituality, but what I like about your content, because I was talking to Mike earlier about that, is the practical use of it. Because there are a lot of people like that we cover on our show, and we cover them for different reasons, but we give our perspective on it. But a lot of it can seem to the average person very esoteric. And I'm like, okay, this is cool stuff, but how do we translate it down to the everyday person that needs to use this? Because everyone's starving for this information. Obviously, the what you call trauma that you went through, knowing this stuff now could have helped you in that period of time. And I believe that's why it's a catalyst for you to be doing this now, so other people don't have to go through that type of stuff. That being said, it also gain some calluses and strength in it. But you're a person that just as a talk about, you actually utilize it from a practical standpoint. And that's what the world needs today. Because I think a lot of people talk about it pretty well, but sometimes it can be just out of reach. It's like a quantum physicist that's teaching quantum physics, but not able to explain it to the rest of the world. All of a sudden, quantum physics is a dark matter.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
And Star, you say that in your videos, and that's what I love. You're like,
Yeah.
hey, look, everybody's out there telling you, oh, let go of this, or for whatever, but they never show you how. And
Yeah.
that's what's so great about your short form content is you are able to capture a huge idea and bring this down to like the everyday, like, oh, I get it. I see it. And that's the biggest thing Frank saw Frank and I saw in your content was, holy shit, this guy has the ability to capture these big ideas and really make them, the layman understand it.
Yeah. So the mental health content I share is based on the practical challenges I went through. I had OCD for 11 years since I'm very young, and through basically the challenges I went through, people with OCD always look for control and safety. They look for control and safety and certain behaviors that they think will make them safe. And with me, it was connected also to the law of attraction. It was connected to you have to think positively and it was getting really extreme. My family was worried about me. I couldn't live a normal life. And in the beginning, which was before the prime of YouTube, where people actually came to the forefront who practically went through recovery, if that's ADHD, BPD, OCD, trauma, whatever mental health you want to talk about. Most of the people who come out of university, and this is truly what I'm saying, I mean this, they're not efficient, they're not effective, they only regurgitate information. I went to a lot of those people. I went to OCD specialists here in Los Angeles. They couldn't communicate because they didn't do the work. It's like having a fitness trainer, a personal coach who never lifted, who never did pull-ups, who never did push-ups, who never did barbell squats, whatever, but they read every book about it.
Yeah.
And now they tell you, oh yeah, I know how to train you. No, they don't. They don't know how the muscles, or the movement, everything. So the truly amazing people out there who will help you with your mental health are most of the time not the ones with the certificate at the wall. Definitely not. They're the ones who went through the things that they want to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. So I'm so happy, and I got to thank Mark Freeman, who is the author of You're Not a Rock, who recovered from OCD 12 years ago. I got to thank the people who created ACT therapy, which is acceptance and commitment therapy, which is an outside the therapy, because most popular therapies are talk therapy and just talking about nonsense, engaging the algorithm of the brain and engaging the same patterns that are going on. And you basically, a lot of people who come to me, I've been coaching for 4 years. I don't know if I probably can cuss here, right?
Oh yeah.
Fuck them up.
Really.
Fuck them up. Talk
Yeah.
therapy fucked them up more than before.
Yeah.
So
It's just
me-
strengthening the pattern.
it is strengthening the pattern. Now, I don't want to bash all of them because there's some great ones and a lot of people want to help.
Yeah.
But if you don't do the work, if you don't meditate, if you don't practice, I can't respect you, because how are you going to show people? It's like a fat personal trainer. How are you going to show people how mental health tools and how things work if you don't know? Because this is the surprising thing that a lot of my clients go through. They meet me, they think, oh, these videos are so great. These concepts, he's explaining it so well. They meet me and they think through the meeting, a lot of the people, oh, they're going to change. But what they're actually going to change by is the practical tools that they do. Them being okay with uncomfortable emotions and moving forward in the direction mindfully of the valued actions. And then 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks after, a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever time, they're like, oh my God, I fucking understand it now. I thought I get the information, I'm good. I changed. Like, I'm literally a different person now than I was 2 months ago. My brain literally rewired it will rewire itself so much that a lot of times you don't even remember what you were scared of. So it's practical. It's practical. And our mental health industry is fucked unless we bring out more of the content like Mark Freeman, behavioral things that show actually how things work. And then I also always want to be like, yo, you don't have to actually trust my words. Yeah. You can just apply it. Yeah, you need some time to apply it to find out that it works. Because even someone who's like, oh, goes to a personal trainer and is like, I'm fat, I have diabetes, give me a 6-pack in 2-3 days. Personal trainer is going to be like, what the fuck are you even talking about? We need to do your diet. We need to have you progressive overload and training and weight training. And it needs to, like, you need to see it over some months. But I always say, don't believe me. Just do it. You will see. But you have to have some endurance to go forward in the direction, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's because it's a lack of momentum in the direction in which you wanted to go. So now it's just changing that direction. And that's really it. Like, there's so many books out there on the practical level of stuff. Like, there's a book I just finished reading called The Comfort Crisis. And they touch on this. It's not the greatest spiritual book, but it's very interesting that they touch on when you're trying to do something, when you choose kind of like this, when you choose your discomfort, it always benefits you. And then over time, that discomfort actually becomes comfortable. So to a lot of people out there, because when I talk to a lot of people as well, I say, hey, just just try some. I'll give them some simple breathing exercise. I'm like, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel good. Well, keep doing that. And if you keep doing it, you're going to keep doing it and you're going to feel good. Otherwise, if you keep doing this, you're not. It's that simple, but it's kind of like the Tao Te Ching's one of their famous quote is 1,000-mile journey begins with one step. People want, like you said, they want the 6-pack abs. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't even know why you want the 6-pack ab, you know. What you want is what you really want is a process to get there. Yeah, you're going to get there, but all of a sudden you learn something new about yourself, and you learn what you're talking about. You learn that you are and can handle anything, and then let's see what else you can handle. And that's how we break the mental health field. But it takes a while. It takes people like you talking about it. Because years from now, they might be studying you in Harvard.
Exactly.
You know, you just don't know. You know, that's how it all started. It was one person talking about it. Go back to like Freud or you know, other people at that time, and it took many times, and we find out that not everything Freud brought up is right, and it starts to transform. But it takes universities a long time to transform, because I believe they are like these weird mini cults. Where it's like, hey, I'm going to sell you a degree in the information in which I deem to be informative. And then you got little minions running out there where until someone has a practical setting, they believe it.
Yeah, regurgitating all the information.
Without, like you said, without even experiencing it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the university. If students would practically learn in the university to get like projects and independently move, and even like group projects to move forward and do the things like build a business and document themselves building a business, talking to the girl they like, talking to the guy they like, going to the gym, going to social events, doing stand-up comedy with the uncomfortable emotions, going through over months and months, and they're doing actually practical things like that, they would be better therapists and psychologists. And there's probably thousands of therapists, psychologists right now. I always get messages that show their clients my videos, that show their clients Mark Freeman's videos. Yeah. Because they're like, oh, this is easy explained here in this video. Let me send it to my client. Yeah. So yeah, that's helpful. But we need like the schools to catch up with it. And especially from a young age, because people get taught, one of the most harmful things that people get taught is this anxiety that you feel is wrong. We need to fix it.
Yeah.
And the paradox is by trying to fix it, you make it more excessive. You engage the algorithm around it. You make the focus on that thing. You spend time around it. And the brain's like, oh, you love playing with that toy? You love playing with the toy that I just gave you? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let me give you more toys. Let me give you more intrusive thoughts. Let me give you more emotions. Let me give you more thoughts. Yep. So it's a different relationship that we need to teach children from a young age.
Yes.
With anxiety, emotions, thoughts. But think of it like this. Why are we able to allow our digestion to do its thing? Why are we not saying, hey, I know better. The strawberry stomach, listen to me. The strawberry that just came into into you, I'm going to handle it. I'm going to deliver the cells of the strawberry, the vitamins, the nutrients to the cells. The stomach's going to be like, what the fuck? I've been doing this for 30 years for you. Yeah. You don't even have a connection to the bloodstream. I'm really cool with the bloodstream, with buddies. I'm really cool with the brain. I know exactly where those things have to go. You're going to hurt yourself. Like you're going to go into your body, hurting yourself, like something's flaring up.
You're actually going to give yourself an ulcer.
Getting in the way.
Where strawberry wasn't going to do that.
Exactly. But so why are we trying to interfere with our thoughts and our emotions? Why are we interfering with them? Why don't we learn how to be a space for them? Let them do what they want to do, by that build emotional fitness and find a direction which is growing our life like a garden. Yeah. Like with valued action. This is the value garden exercise is something that Mark Freeman created. I added like these 7 categories to make it easier to find the valued actions for the people. But by just focusing on that, we showing the brain what we care about. It's very simple. Our superpower is our attention, is our focus. With our attention and our focus, we're showing our brain what we want more of, what we care about. It's even written in teachings all over the world. It's not only in mental health industry. Everybody can kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
But we get taught, oh, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. We need to fix this anxiety. There's something wrong with you. You shouldn't have depression. Take a pill. You shouldn't have this. Go there. You shouldn't have this. There's something wrong with you. We need to figure it out. We need to go in your past. We need to talk about all these circumstances. And then the brain's like, oh, you love bringing your focus to these circumstances in the past. You love spending time on these things, talking about what happened to your mom, your dad, the abuse, the addiction, the hurt. Oh, okay. Let me give you more things to fix because you show me with your behavior, love fixing. Your brain doesn't know your desire. Your brain doesn't know you want to get rid of those things. I like to give an example, the house. Imagine you live in a house and you have too many chairs in the house. It's so many chairs. And you're like, oh, I need to get rid of these chairs. I cannot invite people anymore. I need to get those chairs out the house. Too many chairs. The brain looks at this and you're throwing chairs out the house. You're throwing them out the window. You're throwing out out on the lawn. You get chairs out the house. The brain looks just at your behavior. It doesn't understand, oh, this guy wants to get rid of chairs. It just looks what you spend your time on most of the time. So the brain's like, oh, you love throwing chairs out the house. That's your hobby because that's what you do a lot. You're throwing so many chairs out the house. So I'm the brain. I wouldn't do something that I don't like. So you must have loved it. So let me get you, because you're gonna end up having no chairs anymore. Let me go to IKEA, build some more chairs. Let me go to the lawn, bring some chairs back into the house. And so now substitute chairs for emotions and thoughts.
Yeah.
The more you're trying to get rid of them, the more the brain is like, oh, you love fixing thoughts and emotions. You love fixing these chairs. Let me give you more excessive anxiety. Let me give you more depression. Let me give you more of the intrusive thoughts because you're engaging with the algorithm. It's like literally like Tik Tok algorithm. You guys probably know how amazing, alien-like the Tik Tok algorithm is. It knows what you're watching. It's based on watch time, what you put your focus on. It knows better what you care about than you probably. So you watching it, it doesn't even matter if you like it. You don't even have to comment. If you just watch it, if you don't even like it, the Tik Tok algorithm is like, oh, you love these videos about punching people. Let me give you more videos about punching people. Yeah. You love videos about nature. Let me give you more videos about nature. So how do we show the brain what we care about? By mindfully, not spending time in our head, because then we get more of the things that we spend our time on our head. By mindfully, that's why mindfulness is important. Bring our focus back to the things that we want to grow, the valued action, the creative expression, the family and friends relationships, the romantic relationships, the physical fitness, the relaxation, the fun, your business / money, those things. And then you find, oh, I want to build this TikTok. I want to create videos. I want to create paintings. I want to sell things on Etsy. I want to go on stage. I want to do this. I want to build a family. You put your focus on, and it's about taking up more territory. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And that's how it's how the human species actually evolves. Obviously, we're seeing like over the last 30, 40 years when psychology, we're actually trying to go deep into people's problems. All of a sudden, more people became disparaged. So it's really interesting because years ago, when people like into the more trades of physical work, they didn't have enough time to do it. Some people, like, it was almost good. Like years ago, certain people like, I'm not going to therapy. I'm like, yeah, you're going to save yourself a lot of shit. But now you have people that they're so fed up with it that they're such in a desperate place because they've been talking about it so long. Like, I can't come to work today because I have depression. I'm like, actually, if you go to work today, you won't have depression. Mm-hmm. But they don't see that because they were told, like what you said, is to dive down that hole of where all the stuff that you don't want is, opposing the door in which everything you want. It's like, well, I have to dig out this hole first before entering through the door. I'm like, that's not how life works.
And that's exactly it. We don't teach enough about this instrument. We're taught we're an identity. We're taught we're a person. We're taught that we're separate. That's the role that we've been taught. You know, we've been taught only about this physical world. And so with that, we're all taking on the problems, thinking we're separate, thinking there's, there's this outside world that is affecting us. And so, like you were saying, Star, this is going to start an overhaul from a very early age where we start to teach people how this instrument works, how the mind works, the function of the mind, the heart, how this all works in tandem and works together, how relaxation, and learning to regulate our nervous system is the key to success, happiness, focus, all of the above. That's the conversation that needs to start, because right now we're running around making our problems essentially worse or digging the hole deeper because we've been taught, oh, we got to analyze this. We got to dive deep. Let's talk about this same problem next week. We'll get deeper into it then. And we're just strengthening the neural pathway. And one of my favorite examples of this is like, you got a mountaintop, right, with snow. And we've had these same problems or the same emotions, and we've created this path down the mountain. And we really have carved in this path down the mountain. It's very easy to travel, etc. And now when we start putting our attention somewhere else, on health, love, self-love, all the above, it's going to feel weird when we start going down a different side of the mountain. There's no path, there's nothing carved, and that's the uncomfortable feelings that we're talking about. And as we start to carve this new path, there's going to be bumps, it's going to feel weird, etc. But then snow starts to cover that old path. And like you were saying at the beginning of this, show, is you are literally creating a new person by traveling down that new neural pathway. And that old pathway is getting covered up, and it's no longer in use. It's no longer accessible because now you're taking a new pathway down. And that's the information that we need to get across to people is, hey, this feeling of uncomfortability, this feeling of, hey, this is awkward. Hey, I don't like this. This isn't supposed to feel this way. That is normal. And that's part of it, and that's where people get held up. They're like, oh, this isn't for me. And so like, this is why when I'm talking with people or on this show, I always voice, hey, you're going to feel stupid. You're going to feel like you're making this up. You're going to feel like this is, you're lying to yourself. Because I remember going through all those emotions being like, oh my God, all right, hey, I know what this is. But I never heard people talking about it. And I think that's why I love so much of your content. Looking back at my journey, like I wish I had somebody like you in the early beginning, because you're like, hey guys, it's normal to feel this uncomfortable, feeling. You're going down the right path. And that information needs to be shared more, because a lot of people, the reason they bail, the reason they give up is they think, oh, it's something wrong with me. I feel weird. We need to explain to everyone, like, no, everyone is going through that uncomfortable feeling as they're carving that new pathway down the mountain, if you will.
I love that analogy. That's such a great analogy because it's about making that old pathway inactive and making the new pathway active. And I always tell people the old toxic patterns that you're so familiar with will feel right because it wants to survive.
Yeah.
And that's your safety. You think this toxic patterns, your brain thinks this toxic patterns is your safety. So the new pattern, the healthy one, you're going to feel exactly what you say. Uncertainty, not feeling ready yet, uncomfortable. It's all the wrong feelings. And some people are like, oh, this must be my intuition. I shouldn't do this. Yeah. The more you actually avoid doing the things that you value, the more the brain's like, oh, those things must be dangerous. Mm-hmm. Because why would you avoid them if they're not dangerous?
Yeah.
It must be dangerous because you're avoiding speaking on stage. You're avoiding making TikToks. You're waiting for the right feeling, the right background, the right perfect self-help book that gives you all the answers, the right vibe, the right attraction. So you basically don't get hurt. This is never, ever how it works. It has to feel uncomfortable. And you got to be like, oh, this is a great opportunity. I can have this wrong feeling. It's just the old pattern that tries to suck me back in and tell me, no, the brain's like, no, that's dangerous. You taught us. Let me give you more uncomfortable thoughts. Let me give you more uncomfortable emotion. And that's why it's cognitive diffusion is so important. Like you said, that we stop identifying with those thoughts, emotion. Oh, I'm not ready yet. I'm not good enough. These are just patterns that try to keep you from the danger. They're actually not logical thoughts. They don't mean anything about you. One of the best car stickers I ever seen was on Halloween night some years ago, and it said, "Don't believe all your thoughts." So we actually can make it about the value action and say, okay, I can have these thoughts. That's why cognitive diffusion is so important. The differentiation between us and our brain. Oh, I can have these thoughts, but I'm going to do these actions anyway. And it's like a little child that you take by the hand. The little child like screaming, no, no, they're going to hurt us again. They're going to bully us again. They're going to judge us again. No, 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 we cannot go. We cannot go on stage. We cannot do this. We cannot do this. And instead of identifying with the voice of the little child, be like, oh yeah, no, we cannot do this. Because then the little child's like, what the fuck? I'm a little child. You an adult? I'm scared. You're scared too. This must be even more scary. We need to now learn how to be the loving father, the loving mother, the loving grandfather, the loving grandmother of taking our little child by the hand and saying, letting it scream. Stop being scared of the screaming of the uncomfortable emotion, the uncomfortable thoughts, and take that little child by the hand and say, yes, we can do this. I know you hurt. I know we have these feelings, but you know what? We're going to go on stage and do our passion, the stand-up comedy or the acting or the creative expression or building the business or talking to that guy, talking to that girl that was like, we can't do that. And you know what? We can even get hurt, but we're doing it. We're growing our garden. And over time, we're building this beautiful garden, this beautiful support system that's going to support us. And I'm going to show you that we're safe. I'm going to show you I'm the adult now. And over time, the little child comes with you and is still screaming, no, no, we cannot do this. But the screaming gets quieter and it looks around. And after months and months and months, the child's like, it's not bad.
Not so bad here.
Yeah, we're good. We're on stage. We're doing things. We're doing podcasts. This is great.
Yeah.
Sorry I threw up on you. I'm sorry I screamed at you. But I didn't know. I was the child. You know, just a child.
Yeah.
You know, taking care of it.
Oh, I love that, Jess. So, Star, real quick, I had this on my notes to ask you about because this was one of my favorite things from your content. And I want you to know, like, personally, before I brought you to Frank, like, when I saw your stuff, I was like, shit, this is so on point. It's funny, it's easy to understand, and it's getting to the core of things. But one of the best things, because you and I, all of us here on this call know this, how we label things is how we perceive them. And we live in a world that needs these fancy titles and all this to buy in and to believe. And once you have buy-in, then something becomes real. So you use the medical term or the professional term, cognitive diffusion, which I love because this gets the people who are on the fence to really buy in and understand what's going on here. So can you dive into cognitive diffusion? Because this is for, you know, those listeners who are on the fence. Like I always tell people who are first getting into this stuff to go to Dr. Joe Dispenza. The reason I do this is to get that analytical, hey, this is bullshit mind to kind of start to see the evidence, the neuroscience, you know, the validity of these type of topics. And so when you use a word like cognitive diffusion, and somebody can look that up and see these different medical professionals talking about that and seeing this on, you know, a government website, they're like, oh my God, there's something here, you know? And so I love that you have really dialed in and talked about cognitive diffusion. So I just figured I'd line that up and turn it over to you.
Yeah, cognitive diffusion is very simple. And after I say cognitive diffusion, because that's not really a simple word, I guess I can find except 2 words or 3, it's the differentiation of your brain. It's actually 4 words. Is it fucking up here? Differentiation of your brain. Yeah, it's 4 words. So I'm trying to like say, okay, cognitive diffusion is just the differentiation between you and your brain, you and your thoughts, you and your emotion. Because a lot of people, when they hear about brain and they hear about mental health, they click off because they think it's too difficult. They think this is too difficult. Only these neuroscientists or only this neurologist who studied this, who passed, who basically contained enough information to pass their midterms, right? And then we don't know what they're doing after. Hopefully good things. But it's not that difficult to understand your brain. And I want people to know that. It's very simple. Maybe these professionals or the people with the labels and the people with the certificate want to make you believe that only they know the answers for you because then they can sell you their product. But I'm telling you, every 10, 12-year-old can, if they get taught in school, understand how the brain works on a simple basis and understand how to keep yourself healthy.
Yes.
If we explain it to them like you explain like a 5-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, and I try to keep it as, because I know these words from just reading about activity, Mark Freeman, etc. But it's not helpful. Look, Einstein said, genius is not to take something complex and keep it complex. It takes something complex and make it simple for people to understand. When I went to school and like studied a little bit kinesiology, I was always baffled by the books. First of all, we had to pay like $100, $150 for these like books that these professors wrote. But then it felt like they were all competing against each other. Who sounds the most, I don't know how I would say this.
Sophisticated,
Yeah.
Yeah, sophisticated. Who can like brag the most? Who
Yeah.
can have like the biggest like dick contest
Vocabulary. Exactly.
along these guys of like, yeah, who can sound the smartest? Who can sound the most genius? But how does it help people? Like, it doesn't help people. So when I make videos, I always try to be like, okay, I understand this really well, but how can I make this like a map, like getting people in by their symptoms? Because when I say, oh, how to get rid of anxiety, that's actually one of the worst things you can do. Trying to get rid of anxiety creates more anxiety. But I have to say how to get rid of anxiety, because people who don't know about mental health, they just like, oh, I want to get rid of anxiety. Why I get this anxiety? So I have to speak their language, right? So with cognitive diffusion, that is the first thing. If you out there have a therapist and a psychologist, and they don't teach you in your first session what cognitive diffusion is, you can be disappointed. And I don't want to say you should fire them, but maybe go back and ask them, hey, can you explain to me the differentiation between me, my thoughts, and me and my emotion? Because if you don't have the differentiation between you and your thoughts, you will be identified with your thoughts. You will be identified with your emotion. You will just say, I'm just a shy person. I'm just a person with ADHD. I'm just a person who's embarrassed. I'm just a person who's clumsy. I'm just a person who's not good enough, not ready yet, not this, not that. You identifying with the thoughts that come in your head because you just walk through life basically being reactive and believing every single thought that you have. Yep. Those thoughts, I can tell you, most of them are not true. And the reason for that is the brain is just giving you what you react to. There's not any meaning. There's not any truth to these thoughts that come into your brain. It's just the brain is literally an algorithm. It's like, what thoughts do you spend your time on? Oh, you spend thoughts on penguins? Let me give you more penguins. You spend thoughts about your ex? Let me give you more thoughts about your ex. You spend thoughts about being hurt in school, not being good enough, that you may be gay, that you may be straight. These are all thoughts that people have that people don't talk about. Like, there are people who like get thoughts about being gay, get thoughts about being straight, and they're like, oh no, am I gay? Am I straight? Right? It's like, it's you engaging with it and then you believing it. The same thing is actually happening in relationships. Oh, am I still loving that person? The brain will give you more doubts about that. So just your engagement. And we have to tell people in the first session, hey, these are just thoughts. And here's a great exercise you can do for any like body out there who's listening to this. Instead of saying my thoughts, say the thoughts say, or the brain say. When I work with kids, you can even say, oh, how do you want to name your brain? Oh, SpongeBob. Okay, SpongeBob said. Mickey Mouse said, I'm not supposed to play on the playground with the others because maybe what if I get embarrassed? And guess what, Star? I went anyway playing, even though SpongeBob said that, because I wanted to play and it was okay that SpongeBob was talking to me and telling me that I have these. And you can teach a kid that, you can teach a grown-up that. But you have to like start. This is a great way to start, to being like, oh, the brain says, I have this uncomfortable feeling and I shouldn't go there. Okay, let me train. I can have this feeling and go there anyway. Let me show myself that I'm not a slave to the brain, that I'm not a slave to the emotion. This is the huge difference between being reactive and being proactive. You being reactive to all the thoughts and spending time and energy on is creating more of a typhoon tornado of thoughts and emotions. You're basically fucking up your internal system. You laying a lot of neurological systems just based on maybe your specific trauma you had in the past. But now you're firing it up even more. It's hard that you had that trauma, but that doesn't have to be the identity that you have to carry around. So nowadays, you just say, okay, I can have this thought. This thought say I should do this. And that's why the valued actions, we need a new GPS, right? Because the old GPS was just listening to everything that the emotion said and the thought said. So now to use our superpower to focus, we need to put it in the direction of a new GPS. You cannot, because there's some people who teach, yeah, just sit on the couch with your feelings. That's dumb as fuck. Whoever teaches that is like, stop. It doesn't make sense. You don't just sit on the couch with your feelings. You need to show your brain what is it you want to do instead. And the two things, outside of your head and inside of your head. Because even if outside of your head, you're doing all the things. You go into soccer practice, you go into acting, you go to musical festivals, you do all the things from the garden that you want to do, build your business, etc. But if inside of your head, the brain says, oh, what about your ex? And you're like, yeah, what about my ex? I'm here at Disney World, but I'm thinking about my ex and maybe I should text them. You're still feeding the pattern. So we need to stop feeding the patterns outside of the head and inside of the head. And just to come back to your question, cognitive diffusion is very simple. It's just the differentiation of you and your brain. And you practice it by, in the beginning, just be aware whenever your feeling says something, and then it wants you to do the action. But the best way actually to see how your brain functions is to set the actions that the brain tells you that you shouldn't do in the week proactively, because then you always have the direction, the GPS to say, oh, no matter what the emotions and thoughts say right now, I go in that direction. And in that process, you will get a better understanding of, oh, look at how the emotion's trying to pull me away from that, but I can do this anyway. Oh, look how the brain says, no, we're not ready yet to make videos about this. We have imposter syndrome. We are not good enough. Oh, and I do a video anyway, having the thought that I'm not good enough, that I'm bad at this. And I'm making it just about the values, just about what I communicate. If you do more videos like this over time, the little child's like, oh, we are good enough. The confidence comes after the action over time. So the cognitive diffusion is just in the beginning. We have to know, oh, the differentiation between our brain. We're not the brain. We're not the thoughts. We're not the emotions. And we can decide. We can decide what we spend our time on. And we can use thinking as a tool, not let thinking use us, which means we can think about, what is it actually that I care about in life? What is it actually I want to spend our time on? And then put it outside of our heads, like on a whiteboard or on postal notes or on a phone, because your brain can always trick you. Your brain just wants you to do compulsion. It wants you to go back to the patterns, to this like safety. So seeing the things that you actually want to do outside of your head and taking up more territory with that will change your brain over time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And again, cognitive diffusion is awareness, and it's a good label for it, and it sounds like a professional, and it's something that people can look up and it's tangible for them. So I love that you bring that up, because it gives people the buy-in, because the buy-in is so important. Hey, there's something here. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. And also too, the one thing I talk to a lot of people about, and this, when I first heard this concept, when you're saying I'm depressed, I'm tired or whatever, who knows that? When you start, and that's the true separation of anything. I even talk about people like, if you come to an understanding in life that you are eternal, people are like, how do you know you're eternal? I'm like, well, where's your 5-year-old body? Where's your 18-year-old body? Depending on how old you are. Something slipped out of that into the body. That witness that's in this body was actually in the 5-year-old body, the 8-year-old body. So there's something,
Yeah.
people don't realize the separation is already there. So like, every day I take my clothes off, put a new set on the next day, the body itself remains the same. It's the clothing that's changed. So our thoughts are like the wardrobe. Well, why are we choosing a wardrobe that doesn't look flattering? And we know it doesn't look flattering, but it's the only wardrobe I have. I'm like, well, go shopping. And that's kind of like how the practical aspect of it. So, and the more you actually put on what we consider preferential clothing and flattering clothing and how you look at it that way, you're only going to shop at those stores. And that's over time. You're not going to, so if you're shopping at Nordstrom's now, you're not going to start shopping at the flea market anytime soon.
Yeah. You stop shopping in the aisle of depression.
Yeah, because the people that go to the flea market aren't happy about it, but they think that's all they have. I'm like, no, there's Nordstrom's over there. I'm like, come on. And I'm using this as an analogy, obviously, because I guess if you want to go to the flea market, there's nothing wrong with that either. But most people are, because they know they don't want to be depressed. They know they don't have anxiety, but they want to do this, but they don't think they can do that because they're always talking about it, like you said. And I always grab people right from the get-go when they stop talking. I'm like, stop. Okay, why? You want to feel anxiety? I mean, you want to feel comfortable? And I have them take a couple of breaths in. I'm like, how do you feel now? Well, I feel a little bit better. I'm like, what did you actually do? You actually took action and started breathing, and it was a focus away from just focus on the anxiety. Somebody took 3 deep breaths in. That was it. You felt better. Well, keep doing that. And over time, you're going to do things in that direction. And then, okay, I feel good. Well, go write the book. Start with the beginning or start with the end. It doesn't really matter. And then over time, you start moving down this direction. And like Mike mentioned about carving a new
neural pathway.
Mm-hmm.
Also get used to stop carving. And because once I get used to that new pathway, I want to get on another one, because even if it's good, it'll turn bad on me eventually. So it's actually about skiing on down a hill on powdered snow every time. And that's really what we want to do, because every groove will get us stuck. Because the groove that got us stuck that's creating anxiety now was actually wanted and preferential years ago. And that's how we got here. So we did something we wanted to do, but we thought this was it because we felt good about it, and it got us stuck in that groove. So we want to be on white powdered snow every time we go down the mountain.
That's living in the unknown, the present.
Yeah, and that's the best place. It's fun. That's what children did. When we were kids, we lived in the unknown. I jumped, ran out of my house, went to a playground that maybe I wasn't familiar with, and whatever equipment was there, whatever kid was there, I played with. I didn't okay, write out my whiteboard. Okay, this is what's going to happen. I get there. Shit, this looks like nothing like what I desired. But we didn't have enough of a replication of experiences to know that something's wrong. So somewhere over time, when we went from the theta state into the beta state and starting to judge everything, this is where the downfall was. But it's like when we get back into that theta state, everything's anew, and everything's a new world to explore, just like the childlike state. And then watch what happens. It's the most amazing thing. Mm-hmm. And it's that, like you said, it really is that simple. What's difficult is getting used to the uncomfortableness.
That's it.
I think that's why you look what's happening in the world. You got two sides. It seems this way anyway in the news. And, I look at my world around me and it looks different than the news, but nonetheless, you got people like doing cold plunges now. All right. So people are like, what does this have to do with anything? How does this help? I'm like, well, the body's 100 degrees and the mind is saying, are you out of your mind? But your narrow focus makes you jump into the cold bath, and all of a sudden you disperse your neural pathways. And so if I could jump in the cold tub, I could, like you said, get on stage and tell a couple of jokes. And then from there, I can go do this. This is why it's working. Don't stop at the cold tub. That's the start. It's letting you say, I can override this mind of mine that says, that's crazy. Why would you get in a 50-degree tub when your body weighs 100 degrees? I'm like, well, let's see what happens. And all of a sudden, yeah, because all the way, every time I do it, my mind's like, hey, let's do it later. I'm like, no, we're doing it. And then we go in it. It's like, oh, shit. Okay. All right. Settle down. But then I do the same thing, everything I'm doing. If I'm driving my car, I'm no longer in a fog. I'm literally noticing the texture on my steering wheel. I'm present. I'm looking around me. When I'm talking with individuals, I'm not focused on anything else. This becomes the natural habit of always being in, and it's very achievable. Even if it takes you a year or 2 years, who cares? And it won't take you that long. But even if it did, who cares? And that's the power of paradox. It's like, I just need to be, okay, I could breathe in now and feel good now. Okay, that's all that matters. If you keep doing that, you'll keep feeling better than not. And over time, that one step will gain you that 1,000-mile journey. And then you look back like, damn,
I was really doing something.
Yeah. And we can only do it from this moment. And I think that's what happens is when the intellectual mind takes us out of the moment and says all this jargon, and it feels good, it sounds good, but if you don't apply it, a lot of people don't know how to apply from that. So in a lecture, or like, I like what you talked about. We mentioned this on the podcast when we talk about you, and you really hit home with this. There are people who are addicted to watching and reading
Self-help.
That's right.
They it's like reading about how to swing a bat, but you don't even own a goddamn bat. It's like eventually you have to go to the sporting goods store and buy a bat. Like I would buy the bat prior to buying the book, tell you the truth, and then I might buy the book and swing the bat, not knowing what I'm doing, then read the book. I'm like, okay, at least I have an understanding how to swing a bat. If I was teaching my child how to hammer in a nail, I wouldn't intellectually do it first. I'd say, here's a nail, here's a hammer. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's do it this way. But after the first swing of the hammer into the nail, he now has a cognitive understanding. I'm like, okay, and now I'm going to show you how to do it better. But school starts the intellectual jargon, and it puts kids to sleep, and they never practically use it. So they don't even see the value in it.
And they
That's
think
why,
they can't.
what most kids don't like school. Even the kids that get grades. Why? Because there's no practical value. They're not duplicating it. Because the spiritual and the physical, if they're not met, it's what we call a stillborn. If I have a great idea and never give birth to it, it becomes a dead baby. And we don't want that. So we got to enact it. And we got to as we do that and see this, it's like, wow, this is exciting to step into the unknown as much as I can.
I think for you, Star, like when you're working with a client for the first time, is it the type of thing where you explain, like, so when I started to understand these concepts, so like Frank has been a huge mentor to me, like getting me to help, understand these concepts, and I remember one of the things he was saying to me very early on was, dude, the only thing you think that you're doing wrong or the only thing you're doing wrong is thinking you're doing something wrong. And this was like when that clicked for me, really shit started to change. And then you start to kind of relax a little bit. And then you can start to, make some moves. So I feel like with you, people are coming with extreme anxiety, extreme depression. Hey, I've tried everything. I've tried, countless self-help books, teachers, therapists, all of that. And like, do you give them that space to just relax? Because it's just like, holy shit, how much something can change just when you relax a little bit and you don't think you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. So essentially, what are some of the general techniques? Obviously, everyone's going to be different, like depending on how you do it. But what are some of the general techniques you do with most, if not all, of your clients?
Before I answer that, I actually want to answer something that, sorry, Mike, with that actually, Frank, you taught him. Can you say that sentence one more time?
Absolutely.
The only thing you're doing wrong
is thinking you're doing something wrong.
Okay, so there's a big virus in society, and there's a viral movie clip. I don't remember the actor. He actually played in the new Top Gun, the son of Goose. He has like a little scar on his face, I believe. Maybe he doesn't have a scar. But in that movie, and it's been like this big viral clip. Go ahead.
I think it's Miles Teller.
Could be.
Yeah,
I think.
Teller, yeah.
Okay. Yes, you're right. He also, I think, played with the bigger guy that played in Wolf of Wall Street, the gun movie where they had to go through the desert. That's probably him. But it was this big, huge viral video. And he played, I don't know who he played, but this interviewer asked him, what is the biggest lie told ever in the world? And he thought for a second. He was like, it's not that simple. And she was like, what do you mean it's not that simple? What is that? And he's like, no.
That's a lie.
The lie is that it's not that simple.
Yeah.
It's actually simple.
Yeah.
And this is, if people could grasp this right now, because our society, the brain is always, no, it must be more complicated. That's why I'm not successful. I have to get more information. It must be more complicated. I must find the right technique, like Gary Vee, Alex Hormozi, whoever it is, Abraham Hicks, it doesn't matter. I must find this right technique. And then I have the safety that I will be perfect and I will not get judged. I get the control and safety. The funny thing is, it is that simple, but it's not easy. It is the simplicity of actually moving forward in life while not feeling ready yet.
Mhm.
Moving forward, doing the valued actions mindfully, but you can only see in the process that it was always that simple to show your body, your life, your brain that you care about making videos. And then you build a bigger skill of making videos. And you have to do it while not feeling ready yet, while not feeling good enough, and focusing just on giving value. So I think a big problem that people in society, especially nowadays, with all this information that's throwing at us, and all the people who want to say, no, but my technique is the best technique. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you the 369 technique, whatever technique. And then people are like, oh, yeah, I just need one more puzzle piece, one more puzzle piece, one more puzzle piece. But the puzzle piece that they're missing is that they don't need puzzle pieces. They need to play the puzzle that they have.
Yeah.
And then they get more puzzle pieces along the way.
It's like
start making your puzzle. You know?
It's like counting the 1,000-piece puzzle before. I mean, just make the puzzle. If one's missing, you'll figure it out.
Hold on, Star. How did this click for you? Because I remember when I had this aha moment and I was like, holy shit. And it was like learning, it was like getting the skeleton key to life. And I remember being like, oh my God, I've been my own worst enemy, holding myself down this whole time, you know, not realizing it. How and when did this click for you? If you can share that with the audience.
I think a big part came when I became successful
Okay.
on social media, because I always did, yes, I find the teaching to become successful. I'm going to do all the Abraham Hicks meditations. I'm going to do all the processes of Bashar, Abraham Hicks, Michael Singer. I'm going to meditate all these hours, which help. Like some of these things really like help, right? I'm going to do all these journaling, all this writing, and I just need this other thing that raises my vibration. And then it will automatically come and it will be so easy. And it'll be like, I don't have to do anything. And this is the addiction. And this is also comes from a lower self-worth, I believe, because people think, oh no, I can only do this if I have this magical high vibration. Because by itself, it's almost like you're separating yourself. As I'm speaking right now, actually, this is the first time I'm saying this, but it feels like a separation of you are not, and this is what I talk a lot about with my clients, who you are if you have this uncomfortable emotion. You only who you are if you have this high vibration. But I think someone else said this. I think, what's his name? Mark Manson. A negative experience that you accept is actually a positive one, and reaching for a positive one is actually a negative one. But I don't want people to overthink this now. This is all just a concept by itself. Sometimes we just have pointers that lead in the direction. What I actually just want people to understand is, once I made more videos, I made thousands. People don't understand. During the pandemic, I sat in my car 5 hours every day, editing videos and just making videos. As soon as I had a little bit of success, I was like a pit bull. I grabbed onto it because I never had anything. I came here with 2 bags. I had nothing. So I grabbed on like a pit bull and I was like, oh, more videos. And I just got better at making videos by making videos. It's that fucking simple. And by doing what excites me and by trial and error and trying things out. I remember it was summer 2020. I was like, oh, I want to make this video of intuitive eating. No one talked about intuitive eating back then. At least not on TikTok, maybe on YouTube. But I was like, no one's going to get this. I'm going to make this anyway because I want to do this for myself. It blew up. And then other videos, it's just like, you never know what's going to happen, but it's almost like you want to keep walking. You want to keep walking. I had this barber. This is actually, and I feel like there's some stories. We don't know why we remember them, but there's so much truth in them. I had this barber when I had like really short hair. I just got buzz cuts. And he had it like on Melrose in LA, this little studio. And I don't know how we got talking about money. He was like cutting my hair and he was like, you know what I think about money? He told me like this really cool thing. He was like, money to me is just like, I'm running on a track. I keep running. I just keep running. I just do my work. I just keep running. If someone hands me a bag of money, I take it and I keep running. I just keep running. I just keep running. If someone doesn't hand me a bag, I just keep running. I just keep running. I just keep running. But people are always like, oh, I need to make 10 videos. And if I have the high vibration, I go viral. No, fuck no. This is a process. You make more videos that make them in a way that excites you. It's the moving forward. The other thing is the illusion. It's the smoke of mirrors. It's the people saying, you need this fucking puzzle piece that you don't fucking have yet. And then you're always chasing, yes. And if I have it, then I don't get judged because I'm perfect. No one is like that. For nobody, it works like that. I remember Big Sean, he's a rapper.
Yeah.
And he made also this video about the law of attraction. But you have to, you know, this theory, it's so interesting. Do you remember there's this theory in World War II where planes got shot, right? And they came back, like that bullet, you probably know the story. That bullets holes in, right? In it. And the officers were like, okay, those planes have the bullet holes at these points. So we should put the armor at these points. And someone else said, no, wait. These are the planes who came back. So they made it. The other planes where we don't know where the bullet holes went, they went down in the ocean.
Yeah.
They call it survivor bias, right? You guys probably, it's really famous. You guys heard of it. So think of all the people who became famous and now want to tell you a really cool story. They go back, and with the brain is tricky, right? The brain can make up everything. It finds patterns anywhere with confirmation bias. We want to find patterns. We will find fucking patterns. Yep. So Lady Gaga or Big Sean is like, yeah, guys, the only thing I did was this law of attraction exercise here, and now I'm famous. But he's not talking about going to the fucking radio station, rapping for Kanye, doing like a whole mixtape before, rapping every day about this, playing this. No, he's like, yes, I did this one fucking, like, I did this exercise, and you just have to listen. And not to say, I love Abraham Hicks. I love, like, a lot of these teachings. They can be useful. They can be helpful in a sense if you apply them, but apply them and you try out if they work. But the most important thing aside that, like, the most important thing is actually to go in the direction of what you want to do. It's that simple. But don't listen to celebrities and people who you put on a pedestal because you think they're special. I used to do that, where I loved Allen Iverson, like playing basketball and I was like reading all his books and I read all his stuff. And I thought, oh, he's so special. And I have to do everything that I was a kid, like I was a small kid. And I was like, oh yeah, I have to do everything that he does. And other people too, right? If that's Tupac, 50 Cent, Will Smith, whoever it is, Leonardo DiCaprio, you put them on a pedestal and you think, oh yeah, they have this special thing. It's not like that. I met so many celebrities, trust me. A lot of them are dum-dums. A lot of them are great, but they got skill. It's the skill, the value you give to society.
Yeah.
It's just the value. People overcomplicate it. It's exactly what Miller is his name? Tim Miller, the actor? What you said?
Oh, Miles Teller.
It's exactly what he said. Yeah. The biggest lie, it's not that simple. It's actually that simple, but it's not that easy. You have to be okay with the uncomfortable emotions. And that's where I teach my clients, coming back to where you guys asked, a big thing that I teach my clients is to have a different relationship with uncomfortable emotion. Make it almost a game of saying, oh, I have this thing. The feeling of not feeling like it is also a feeling. The feeling of not feeling like it is also a feeling. Mm-hmm. The feeling of not feeling like it to go to the gym. Oh, this is a great opportunity for me to have this feeling of not feeling like it and go to show myself that I can go to the gym with it, and doing that over and over and over again. And you build more emotional fitness, whatever it is, it's anxiety, but almost like if they don't see it, if you don't teach them that, they listen to the dumb messages of society where it's like, oh no, if you have a wrong feeling, we need to fix it first. You have to sit on the couch first. You have to go to therapy first. You have to do this first. No, you are your own authority. You know really well what works if you apply things. Yeah. But people look for authorities that they can put on the pedestal to give away responsibility. This is a big thing also that I want to bring back to my clients, which a lot of people don't do because they want more money, because they're like, I'm the one that's on the pedestal and you always have to come to me. I don't want that. I want to be like, yo, I want to teach you how to trust yourself, how to be your own authority and go out there and trial and error and what works for you. But this is what most people don't teach, because then they cannot be like, oh, I'm this special person And people wake up more and more. I think in the next 10, 20 years, celebrities are going to just be like, we don't give a fuck anymore. Like the Oscar rating go down anyway, all these things. I think people wake up more, but it had a chokehold on people for the last 60 years.
Yes.
You see it, how, what a hallucination, what a hypnosis it's for girls or guys when there's a famous person like, oh yeah, I need everything they have. I need you. Instead of coming back to yourself, be like, yo, I'm a part of God. I'm the same human being. I can do this myself. I can get these skills. But they like always, and this is needy. It's like, oh, I need to be there. I need to get this teaching. But it's coming back to, oh, this over information, this constant attack from information. No. I don't need this anymore. Wait. Let me move forward in the direction of my passions, my paintings, my music, whatever it is, my work, building my business. And even if I fail a business, I fail another business and get better and build more skills. It's the journey along the way. Alex Hormozi fucked up 9 businesses. I saw it yesterday in like video, 11 businesses. And every time you think when someone says, oh, I fucked up 11 businesses, it's like one sentence. You know what it is? It's like the hope that your first business works and trying everything and spending your money and bringing coworkers in and then it goes whole town. And you do that again?
Yeah.
9 out of time?
No, I was gonna say
You can say like the sentence like going broke again, and you can say the sentence and it's so easy. Yeah, I made 9 business. You know, like people are like, yeah, 9 business. No, you know what that means? That means the rejection, the uncomfortable thought of not being good enough. Will I ever fucking make it? But you still move forward. It's the 50 cent get rich or die trying mentality. And yeah, I knew even when I was driving Uber, I was like, if I might make it, I might not. But you know what? I'm going to make videos. I'm going to keep making videos and keep doing crazy things. And eventually it worked out. But so I went on a little tangent. I apologize.
No, we love this. The tangent
really
station. Yeah.
That's the point of this. That's the exact point of this.
What I want to add to something you said that struck me, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
So most people are waiting for this high vibration to do stuff. And the greatest misconception I found out years ago, and it works now, is like, I use this analogy. If I need to get on the freeway with my car, I like to rev my car up to about 5,000 RPMs to get up to about 70 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour. I get there really quick. But once I get to the speed I'm carrying, say 75 miles an hour, my RPMs drop down to 2,000. People think that's a drop in energy. It isn't. It's sustainable at a lesser value of actually energy output. So what people think is excitement, I'm like, you can't remain there because your engine will blow. So when they go from excitement down to here, they think they dropped. I'm like, you didn't drop. You went to here and planed. So I have to convince most people. I'm like, if you go back in time and think about a moment when you did something and how you felt and how you're doing it now, where are you? I'm like, yes, I'm better off. I'm like, okay, why do you think you dropped? Because I don't feel that excitement. That excitement got you to the plane place where everything happens. I can't drive my car at 5,000 RPMs for more than a couple of minutes or the engine will blow. But I certainly didn't go back down to 0.
Mm-hmm.
I planed out at 75. And then I was down to 2. So now at the higher speed, you're more efficient. I don't need to be excited. I just need to keep moving in a direction and not jam on the brakes or get off the freeway or make the U-turn. So people get used to that pulling of the car. It feels good. Don't get me wrong. But I can't drink my coffee or do any other thing in the car until it planes out. So people's misconception about that energy coming down, it's not dropping. It's sustaining at a higher level with less effort. And that's what it's about. So yeah, I'm like, I wake up tired in the morning. I go to the fucking gym no matter what. I don't feel like writing a book. I do it anyway. So now I'm used to driving at this plane. And then guess what? I have to vamp it up. I want to go up to 80. Okay, do that. But once you get up to 80, it's going to drop back down. But you're living your life this way, not this way. And again, it's like what I told Mike years ago. What you're doing wrong is thinking you're doing something wrong. I'm like, people don't realize you're actually elevating, but you're not paying it homage. You are better because you have more thoughts. Like, yeah, if I do something wrong, I'm aware it's wrong. But now I know I'm aware it's wrong. So 11 businesses, all right, that guy, that's the guy I want to hire because he knows everything not to do.
Yeah.
You don't do that, you know? But like the guy that actually had the business successful right off the bat, I'm like, I know people that did that but when they were 30 years old, it crashed and they lost it.
Yeah, what's the skills? What skills did you like develop? You
Yeah.
know,
But the thing
that's where the value comes.
Yeah, but they had it long enough to realize, and it sucked when the first time it happened, but then they were able to get it back. There's this famous story. I forgot the guy's name, but he had this franchise, and it took him like 23 years to manifest into his bank account. It was about $500,000. And then he went to buy this other franchise, and he put the money down, and it just overnight gone. So 23 years of 500 million, sorry, not thousand, $500 million. And he went into a depression, but a year and a half later, he was worth $2 billion because he didn't stop.
Yeah,
That's the only difference. Like, he steadily made money. So he never experienced a real drop till he took a chance and he put his 500 million towards this, and it died. But the thing is, he recognized, like, well, hold on. I don't need to take 23 years to make $500 million. Life is quantum. I could do it. And so once he got over the depression and finally got his head out of his ass and started going, he actually turned into $2 billion.
that's
It's
amazing.
fascinating how that works. So, but when we study people like Elon Musk, like he almost lost everything on the fourth launch of his rocket years ago.
Yeah.
He had everything on it. Even if it failed, we'd still know who Elon Musk was. He tells a story. He's like, if it failed, I would have lost everything. I'm like, yeah, but you would have regained it back because you're you. And what's the difference between him and everybody else that doesn't do it? It's one quality. They never stop. Never stop. What else are you going to do in this life? If God said you're going to live to 90 years old, and you knew that, I'm like, why would you stop anything in the preferential direction? Well, it's hard. I'm like, it's harder sitting on the couch, people. It really is. I'm like, sit on the couch for a couple hours, you get freaking sores,
And that's the thing. We need
Yeah.
to learn how to choose our heart, because we think that this comfort feeling of, I'm just going to go relax in front of the couch, watch Netflix and eat ice cream. We think that's what we want, because we get this little dopamine hit. And it's like, no, we need to talk about choosing our uncomfortability, because that's a perfect example where people are like, oh, this feels right. I'm going to do this. Yeah. But that gets old real quick. And the more you're stuck in that pattern, the more depressed we're getting, the more anxious we're getting, all of that. And so no matter what, we're going to have, the pendulum's going to swing. We're going to have these ups. We're going to have these downs. But what direction do you want to be traveling in when you're having these ups and having these downs? Are you moving towards, that preferential direction?
But the ups and downs we have to understand is in the physical world, the ups, it's like you go here and you go down to get to a higher place. So the down you actually want to invest in.
That's the momentum.
So you're not people think when I go down, I'm back to, I'm like, no, you're not. You're here like a skateboarder. The object on the pipe is get higher from the platform when we started. But the greatest skateboarders actually encourage the downward. They don't fear from it. They go down, they end up here, and then they do it again. So the misunderstanding that the going down is a negative feeling, I'm like, yes, in physics, it's negative, but the negative produces the positive. So you ought not to separate the two. And that's where a lot of misconceptions, they always want to feel good. I'm like, well, why is being tired feeling bad? Interesting. Because you could just transform it. Like when you look at an energy system, like a trough and a crest and a trough, it always moves. So once what was the crest is now the trough. So how do you separate a wave? You can't. So stop, like you said, anxiety. There's nothing wrong with it. But take that anxiety, convert it into energy, and move in the direction which you prefer. And then it becomes your friend, rather than saying, how do I get rid of it? It's like trying to get rid of a crest of a trough of a wave. I'm like, then the wave collapses. We ought not to get rid of this stuff. We have to know what to do in the downward and know what to do in the upward every single time. I once heard this, that 50% of Fortune 500 companies make their money in the bear market. So that means 50% make it in the bull market. So people are like, so what market are you waiting for? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're going down, focus down, and down will take you up. It's the misunderstanding of the physics of this planet that we're on. People are like, I only want to go up. I'm like, no, going down gives you a momentum to go up. It's you doing it in this nice secular upward move where your life is this way. not because after a while you're just going to give up and you're going to go on a downslide. I'm like, no, it's not really, it's not the physics of the world, but that's how, and when you get used to it, it's like, this is actually fun. Now when I'm going down, I actually now embrace the going down. I like the feel of the stomach going up into my throat.
Well, now you know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of where I'm at when I'm talking, when people are sharing this information. It's like, hey, look, like, it's like if you were to get, on a plane, if you're going to land and you're having turbulence and you've never been on a plane before, you think something's wrong. But that second, third, fourth time on a plane, you're like, oh, we're landing. This is part of it.
Yeah.
And so now it's not weird. You're aware of the motion. Oh, I feel uncomfortable right now. Oh, my chest is tight. I'm feeling stress. Oh, this is a chance for me to grow. This is a chance for me to be the alchemist I am and transmute this energy. How do I want to use this energy? And what direction do I want to send this energy? So now it's no longer, oh, something's happening to me. It's, hey, I recognize what this is, and now I can move forward with it. And so you become like, you understand what's going on, not thinking it's happening to you. You know what I mean?
And the best part of that is you're landing. So you're ending up in the position where you want. So you want to land the plane. You don't want to hang out in the plane. So when you're feeling that, something is around the corner that's going to justify the landing, and then you do it again and again and again. And that's the greatest moment in life when you realize that. And that's the present moment. It's how it is. Yeah. But I think a lot of it's the misconception, like you mentioned, it's hard or it's difficult. And that's the lie. It really is. It's a misunderstanding. Yes.
Yeah, those are really great analogies that you so much value. I think you guys should make TikTok and Instagrams out of those, because those metaphors and analogies that you guys give with the car, with the meter, with the airplane, all of those, with the wave, like some people just can really, their brain see in metaphors and analogies, and it gives a lot of value. What I think is really important for people, I don't know if I forgot it.
Damn.
It's
we were talking about the metaphor.
Yeah, I know. It just came back, and this is something that Mark Freeman talks about too. To always see yourself as the whole person that you are, because some people see themselves when they have anxiety that they not themselves, like I said earlier, but that you see yourself no matter where you are in that, like you talked about the skiing or the skateboarding or the plane or whatever emotion you have, that is not defining who you are. Who you are is more of what you spent your time on, and you can spend your time on what you want to spend your time on with whatever emotions are flowing around. So if you make your identity dependent on emotions, then you always separate yourselves in little pieces, and you say, oh, at this time I cannot be myself, I cannot act like myself. But what I want people to know is, no, you can always act yourself with any emotion. And if you want to have that as a better, these are only concepts that better understand. But you can even say, oh, any emotion that you have is you. That's fine if that helps you. Or you can say, the emotions are just something that comes up, and what is really me is the decisions that I want to make at any moment. So I can build this business with anxiety. I can build this business with happiness. I can talk to this girl with excitement. I can talk to this girl with anxiety. I can share my interest, for example, in a conversation, because some people are like, oh, do I have pimples? I'm insecure? I have this feeling. I can have the feeling of insecurity, and I can still share that I love squirrels, that I love nature, that I love making videos, that I love going to the gym. I can still so I can still be myself. I want people, and when you do that, you don't separate yourself, and you don't create these borders in your mind, which creates more resistance and chaos. You say, oh, I'm this fluid It's like a movie. There's no rehearsal. It's this play button. We always playing. You don't have to go in your control and safety chamber and say, "Oh, I don't have to fix this emotion now." Yeah, and to the question, I think the question that was really great what you guys asked earlier. What are the things, because I didn't want to take that away from the audience. I want to give that to people as value, or to coaches out there who want to help people. How I help people when they come to my sessions. So the first thing, if I have a new person, first off, I make a longer session, which is a 90-minute session for them to be able to express themselves. And when they come on, I want them to be, I'm not right away like, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that. Let's just value this. I give them, I either do the valued garden exercise right away. I do the value garden exercise on every first session, because it gives them more clarity. They might come in a rot, they come in depression, they come try to get over their breakup. Their reality is probably really warped. Like their brain, they spend so much time on the problem that there's so much warping of reality. So the first thing on the call I usually do with people is the value garden exercise, because then they have this piece of paper and they write down the actions that they want to grow, or they're already doing that grows their life. Because they're already doing things. They're already maybe going to the gym, but maybe they want to do boxing. But boxing, they have uncertainty. So I let them add that too. So they add those values, and it's their entire life. They create their entire life on this piece of paper, the things that they're already doing that's supporting their life, and the things that they want to do, but the brain says, oh, we're not ready yet. There's uncertainty. So they see it in front of them. And then a lot of times they already have more clarity. Oh, fuck. I just lost myself in this relationship and I stopped supporting my garden. And that's how I showed myself that I'm not worthy. And my brain made me chase more validation in that person because I chased happiness in that person, as an example. And that can be regarding to business, everything. So I let them do that first to get them kind of out of their state, to focus on something else. They're going to have more clarity. Like you guys always talk about this. We focus on something else. We're going to get more clarity instead of spending time on that. And then after, of course, I let them like explain their problem. Why are you coming? And I give them some time, right? Because I also want to see what are the compulsions they have, what are the thoughts they identified with that they don't even know they're identified with. And I hear that from their language. I hear that from their sentences. So it's thoughts, they might be identified with emotions, they might think they're that kind of person. And I hear it in the questions that I ask them about. And then I explain them about how the brain works and why they got into the depression, or why they got into spending so much getting intrusive thoughts, or why they can't get over this person, or why they believe this person is their soulmate, because they spent so much time in their head about it. So I give them the information in the first session to see, how their brain works. And then from then on, we start the week of adding more territory, of doing more valued actions, and importantly, spending time outside of the head. We want to spend time outside of your head. And this is the challenge, because they have to be aware, the brain pulled me in. I was thinking about the X again, no brain. And this is the no brain technique out of my book. I go, no brain.
I love that.
We're walking right now. No brain. We're driving right now. Because with no brain in that moment, no brain is actually such a, if you think about it, sophisticated like technique, because you say no brain, you realize that this is not you. In that moment, you said it. But also, when you say no brain, we're walking right now, in that moment, you shift your focus. So you realize, I was captured in this conversation about my ex, how they might have a new boyfriend or girlfriend. And I realized those are thoughts. I don't have to talk back to them. I cannot control the thoughts that come inside, but I control if I talk back. So I choose to shoot. And now I'm walking. Focus on the walking. Even if it's for 2 seconds, you took up more territory. And then the brain might come back in again. And you're like, no brain. And this is the practice, right? They have to start this. In the beginning, it's challenging because you train for years to talk back to this. So the brain's just like, no, this is not what we're doing. Here's more thoughts. You're supposed to do compulsion. You're supposed to talk back to that. So that's what I usually do in the first sessions. And then we progress from that. I hope that was helpful.
No, that's very
helpful. But they've done a lot of studies in the neuroscience of the brain. When you recognize that you're about to embark on a bad pattern, it changes everything. So a lot of people, like, when you recognize you're doing something wrong, that in of itself is the full project. And the more you do it, the less you actually get caught off guard. So I like how you put that, because a lot of people don't realize the validity of that. So if I'm thinking about something and I'm talking back to it and I realize I got to stop this, that in itself is huge when it comes to neural pathways in the brain. They've actually studied that. So a lot of people think, oh, because sometimes people go back, I keep doing that. I'm like, no, the recognizing that you did that is everything. And then it brings you back to the present moment, because you can only recognize it if you're present. Where,
Right.
I could have went 5 minutes having this conversation in my head, and I come back, I'm like, wow, that was a trip. It was the present moment that made me realize that was a crazy ass story. And then I just leave it at the doorstep and walk away. It happens, but I don't pay it homage. And I'm like, oh shit. No, the second I recognize I was doing it, I start to laugh. That's how I approach it. Like that, like little, like, shut up and get in the back seat, and just kind of handle it that way. But there's tremendous value in recognizing when you're moving away from the direction in which you actually want to go, or being distracted from it. That in itself picks up the momentum to move in the direction in which you want to go. Yeah.
Star, I got 2 questions that I just got to ask you. So number one, we'll start here. How deep will you go with the client as soon as they get past this? Because this is kind of the barrier point. Once you learn, okay, I've got awareness, right? I understand what's going on here. I'm able to get out of the self-talk, get out of the head. But from a spiritual standpoint, I want to kind of get your take on this. How deep do you go with someone? Do you start to get in, to what you're experiencing, this reality, is not as real as we've taken it? Do you go as deep as a Michael Singer? Do you go deep like a Muji or a Bashar or any of these types of, teachers? What is your take on that, as far as kind of deep diving with individuals when it comes to these different levels, if you will, of consciousness?
Yeah, I think that's overdoing it, because I don't want to confuse them with concepts. I only give them concepts if they actually can practically apply them.
Yeah.
Because they already a spiritual being.
Yeah.
They're going to figure it out, and they're going to figure out their own way. I just want to give them the tools for them to break the patterns, move forward in the direction of the things they want to spend their time on in life, whatever they want to grow. Yes, of course, if I see it's a compulsion, if they I don't know, do everything to get famous, to get liked by other people, then I'm pointing that out. But with Michael Singer or the spirituality, I only go into it if it practically helps them to get a balance in their brain or moving forward with doing the things that they value. Because you will value yourself if you move forward with doing the things that you value. You will become a different person. And also nowadays, yes, I know all these teachings, but I also like to say nowadays, I don't know if all of this is true, and I don't have to know.
Yeah.
I don't have to get the certainty of these spiritual teachings, these amazing writing, and I don't want to say amazing in quotes, but there might be amazing writings. I don't have to get and I don't believe in any magical tricks in that direction. I believe more in, these tools, apply these tools. And if they work for you, they work for you, but you are the authority. I also don't want them to blindly listen to me. I want to give them the tools. I know which tools always work. And then if something they want to adjust, I want to talk to them about it, but I don't need to give them concepts that just cause more thinking. And then, I need to get the special state of, or this reality. What about this reality and that reality? I'm just going to get them into overthinking, which I don't want. I want to simplify it for them. And I want to give them tools, but they figure out what helps them along the way. Because a lot of these teachings can cause problems with their mental health as well, right? If they're so scared of negative thoughts, they engage with that, and then they say, I cannot do this anymore because I have to fix my negative thoughts first. They create, missing the word now. I don't know. I usually
Like a
don't miss
spiritual
it.
psychosis type of thing.
Yeah, kind of like there's why am I blanking on this right now? It's when you don't know if you're yourself anymore.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
I know what you're talking about.
Missing
What's that
the
called?
word's missing now.
Existentialism.
It's like a
No,
split
there's another
personality
one.
almost, or like delusional, or like a
Schizophrenia.
yeah, schizophrenia. That's the word.
Depersonalization, derealization.
Yeah.
It's called depersonalization, derealization, and that can also. It's just I don't want to give them the concepts, and I want to just show them, hey, you're not reliant on any concepts. You're not reliant on any thoughts or understanding about spirituality. I want you to show that you can move forward in your life with any emotions and thoughts. I don't believe anyone needs to be, I believe we already are, so to say, whole and work in balance. We don't need to have teaching, so to say, to work in balance. We just need to, it's more of an undoing.
Yeah.
We need to kind of
it's
break the old patterns by making them inactive.
Yeah.
And making the good things active, which are the things you want to spend your time on.
Yep.
If you want to spend your time on relaxing, but mindfully, that mindfulness plus spending your time on the things that you want to spend your time on, you will have an amazing spiritual path because you have to deal with accepting uncomfortable emotions. You're going to learn how to trust yourself. So I don't want to answer your question. I don't want to give them any concepts that don't make practical sense. Now, will I tell them the formula of Bashar? Yeah, follow your excitement with no insistence on the outcome. Perfect formula. Hey, make 50 videos, 100 videos the way you're excited without insistence on the outcome, what the comments say, what the views say. That's a formula that I will say because it has practical application. And if it helps them in the conversation that I believe, but I will never say anything to sound smart or to, I don't know, here's this special spiritual thing over here. I will make it uniquely to them. Okay, how can we move you in the direction of living your life? Because that's all what we're here for, you know?
And I love that because you're helping people get out of the mud. And that's the biggest thing. You know, we're holding ourselves down in the mud, if you will, and you're helping showing people, hey, you can get out of this. And that is the most practical, aspect that brings you to a level of awareness. And when you get to that level of awareness, now you're a creator. Now you're co-creating with this experience. I love that. My second question for you, Star. Where did you get the alien concept from your short form content, and how did you kind of dive into that?
I saw there was a guy. Well, the alien filter just popped up 3 years ago.
Okay.
I think 3 or 4 years ago, and I saw random creators like using it. Then the first one that made it popular was a creator named Red Baron. He used to make but more like philosophical talks.
Okay.
Very much different to what I've been doing. He was doing also the alien talking to humans. He does really great videos, so I encourage people to check him out. But it's more like he does philosophical videos about the meaning of lives and the things that he comes up with. And then my friend Bijan, he took the filter and he made a video, and I saw him in Venice. We met up and he was like, oh, I just made this video, and he got 4.2 million views or so on it. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna do it maybe too. Not knowing if I would actually do it. But then the next day I was like, I don't really have a video idea. I sat in my car and I was like, let me make a perspective of an alien, and I don't know what the first video was. It might have been the marriage video, which I think the marriage video, which went super viral, which also met, what's the Republican kind of speaker, Matt from the Daily Wire. He reacted to it.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know that guy's last name.
What, the guy?
Matt Walsh. No, Matt Walsh. He made a little fun of it, which I thought was fun. He was cool.
Oh, it's cool. You got attention.
I was gonna say, yeah, you got it.
Yeah. No, many people saw that, but then I sat in the car in Venice Beach, and I was like, let me make this video. And it just I love doing it because I love acting, and it just blew up. And then I was like, okay, from that, and then I just stuck with it. I just did 20, 30 videos in a row of that, and people loved it because I felt like I have the chance here to show people a perspective from a being that doesn't know about the world. So I also show perspective of a being who doesn't have limitation.
Yeah.
So people can look, they have less resistance to look through the eyes of this alien and get advice from this alien, because this alien is so curious and wants to know the world, wants to know what humans are doing, and kind of laughing at like how difficult they're making it themselves. Because in their world, which is kind of the perspective that I bring in, so to say, right? My perspective. Some people think, "Oh, are you an alien?" Like, the really spiritual. They're like,
Yeah.
"You didn't make this up. You really talk to aliens, right?"
Yeah.
And I could say, "Oh yeah, maybe on an
Perhaps.
unconscious level, by raising my whatever." I could, but no, I created this, right? And I created also. I wanted to make because I saw people make the voices, just their voices as the alien.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give the alien his own voice.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give him even the "Nyah,"
Yeah.
because I was like, okay,
Funny
he lives in
human.
this world. Yeah. And this is maybe something that they use before speaking to get the attention of like, I just made things up from like an acting perspective, because I got scholarships from like big theater companies before. And I brought all of that in, and that gave me an edge, because I didn't only like everybody else use like the same voice, like, yeah, what's up, da, 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 as the alien. I was like, okay, let me really embody the alien.
Yeah, you created a
Because it's going to
persona.
give more. Yeah, it's going to give more. And then sadly, but I made like hundreds of alien videos. Sadly, over a year and a half ago, they took the alien filter away.
Ah,
Now people don't know this, because I just repurposed so many like alien videos,
yeah.
because I made so many, and I just like repost them, so to say. But now the first video, I don't know if you guys seen the video. I don't know. There's one with where I have a beard on.
Yeah, I just saw that one.
So the filter is not back, but I have an editor who I'm really thankful for. I have to pay him now $30 each video to cost me money, where before I got it free. But he makes me that filter, and
That's
he worked
awesome.
on it. So now I'm back and making new content. But you can tell I had so much content that I just like, people didn't even know I reposted it. So I really love the character. It gives me I really love it. It gives me a way of expressing myself, and I intuitively in the moment come up with things and like write things. And I try to bring clarity to all kinds of mental health perspectives. And yeah.
Well, it's exciting, it's fucking funny, and it hits home, and it's so simple and clear. And there's just something about when you hear something, when it's truth. It resonates. We don't need anybody to tell us. We just know like this is truth. And that's what I appreciate so much about those videos.
Yeah, it's it is when you add entertainment value to something, it really does add value, because the word entertainment comes from entering into attainment, which was a reflection. And so when you do that,
what is that? That's so cool. Say that again. It's entering into.
Yeah, entertainment. It means reflection. So,
oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we enter into a reflection. So when you look at that, that's what like people are seeing it upon themselves, because you could say the same thing in a very monotone voice, and people are just going to skate on by.
Yep.
So when you do that's why comedians, to me, are the most spiritual people around, because they may poke fun at what society thinks is important, and they break it apart, and then we laugh at them like, yeah, it's really not that important in how other people view it, and then the whole audience will laugh. So it's the part. Yeah, and that's the thing is like, so when you're on the alien side of it, asking the question like a little child is, well, why are you doing it that way? And then the human mind comes in and tries to explain it, and the alien's like, that's crazy. And it's funny because we're like, yeah, that is crazy. And like a comedian will tell a joke about what we all do, and why do we laugh? Because we see ourselves without the vetting of you did something wrong, by the way, but we start laughing. Why? Because I'm like, that's crazy. I do that. And I can't believe I do that.
Yeah.
And you start laughing, because laughter is perspective shift. It is the quickest element of energy to move from one direction to another. That's why it happens so quickly. We have to laugh. And that's the most amazing thing about laughter. And your videos, like when I watch them, I chuckle. It's like, I love stuff like that, because it just shifts my energy. And when I laugh, the retainment of the information you're saying sticks. If someone
Yeah.
tells me a funny story, I will never forget it.
Yeah.
Tell me a sad story, I forgot it. Unless I make fun of the story.
And Star, you got millions of different, listeners out there walking around saying to themselves, funny human, when they're doing shit.
Yeah.
And it's helping them,
Yeah.
and that you're growing like that. I just want to say shout out to you on that. Cause that is awesome.
The one thing I want to say is you were
Thank you so
properly
much.
named Star.
Yeah, right.
You're bright.
Yep.
And this is the world needs it. Like, obviously Mike found you on the internet and he's like, you got to check this guy out. I'm like, all right. Now you watch. I'm like, okay, this is funny shit.
Yeah.
And I think it was like a week later, we started.
Well, I said, dude, we got to cover this guy.
Yeah. So we covered you.
Yeah. I was like, this guy's doing short form content. Like, this is a perfect guy for us to have, on Perspective Shift.
And then there was something there and I'm like, okay, this is fun. This is like it. Cause a lot of the stuff, can be even though it's important, it can be somewhat serious. I like your take on this. I like the theatrics in it because it really helps people remember it. And then if they remember it, okay, now enact it. It works. It really does. And that's the brilliance. So yeah, we want to commend you for all the work you're doing and going to continue to do. And yeah, it's amazing.
It's awesome having you on.
It makes me
Star.
smile.
Yeah, truly. And the reason I brought that alien thing up and everything, and why, when we started this, I was asking about your first name. I wasn't sure if it was a stage name, handle name, that. But, you see the alien content, the spiritual side of things, just the overall consciousness. People, you hear that phrase starseed thrown around. So I just didn't know if there was some.
People think that. Yeah,
connection to all of that. So I just figured I'd throw that out there for people listening. We wanted to just kind of dive deep with you on this one, kind of, bring out some stuff that we don't normally hear in the short form content for our listeners. We're going to cut up some great videos and send them your way so you'll have some of that content. Okay. But tell our audience where they can find you, what's the best way to get in contact with you, and any information that you'd like to share just about your brand and your content.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for the warm words. I really feel like warm around my heart. The alien is very special to me, and I'm very humbled and like happy. I'm just so happy that so many people are resonating. Like, I didn't expect it. I didn't know, right? And I'm just so happy that I triggered something in people where they really resonate with, and somehow I can't even explain half probably the ways that it hits people, because people are different than me, right? They see it from their perspective and it gives them something that maybe I didn't even think about. But really thank you. And I'm really thankful that people resonate with the alien. People can find me on Instagram. TikTok is my biggest platform. They have like 800K followers or 700 something followers. On Instagram. It's Star Jesse Taylor. So just my name, Star Jesse Taylor.
That's what I follow you on, is Instagram. I don't have a TikTok.
And if you guys want to go really deep, go on my YouTube, because what I really truly believe, YouTube is the platform where people go who really want to grow, because it takes longer time to explain a concept. If you really want to go into it and really give people something, and if you can focus for a longer time and you really want to grow, that's where I also put a lot of work in. Okay. And that's all the same name, Star Jesse Taylor. And if you guys want to go deeper and self-help yourself with the tools that I've been talking about today, I just published my emotional fitness book 2 months ago or so. And it has how to be mindful in there. It has the entire value garden exercise in there that was created by Mark Freeman. It has how to find your values, how to break your patterns, how to heal trauma, with animations in there. Like, there's funny animations that talk to each other in the book, which I wanted to do kind of the same way like the alien, because then people get more of an understanding of the concept. And I'm going to give both of you guys the book. I'm going to send you guys the code.
Yeah. Oh, we would love that. Yeah. We would love that.
I think it's a quick read. It's like just about 120 pages, but it's really to the point. Even you learn silent meditation, the emotional fitness meditation. So there's lots of things in there that help for heartbreak, breakup, OCD, BPD, emotional fitness, anxiety. And that's something that I think is really useful.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Hell yeah. Star, it was such a pleasure having you on with us today. Seriously, we know our audience here at Perspective Shift is going to really love hearing, your take on all of this. They're going to want to check out more of your content. And again, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys. Thank
Much
you.
love, brother.
We will see you soon,
Thank you.
Star.
You got it. Be
See
well.
you soon.
All right.
Take care.